Shedeur just connected with Denzel Boston that one play that led to cheers from the crowd.
Deion Sanders just did something at Cleveland Browns training camp that nobody saw coming. The loudest man in football, the guy who has never once in his entire life turned down a microphone, pulled up to day 2, climbed to the highest row of bleachers and went completely silent. No interviews, no cameras, no primetime show, just a father watching his son throw footballs. And while everyone was busy trying to figure out what Deion was doing up there, Deion Sanders was down on that field doing something that should have every Browns fan paying very close attention right now. He threw a touchdown that the stat trackers refused to count. He posted 0 interceptions, while the so-called starter is still carrying 2 picks from the day before. And he connected with a receiver on a play so clean, so perfectly timed, that it might have just revealed exactly what Todd Monken is building in Cleveland. Before we get into everything that went down, drop a football emoji in the comments right now if you believe Deion Sanders is going to be the Week 1 starter. I want to see where this community stands before I break down exactly why Day 2 just changed this entire quarterback competition. Now let me walk you through everything. If you are watching this right now and you have not hit that subscribe button for Gridiron Ground yet, you are about to understand exactly why this is the channel that does not sugarcoat anything. We break it down raw, real, and before anyone else catches on. Drop that football emoji and let us get into it.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Well, we'll pay attention to this one, right? Let's sling it right between the cornerback and the safety. And this is elite. That's elite ball placement, right? That's elite ball placement. 1, 2, 3. Takes a step, hitches as pressure is in his face. And you can see, oh, he doesn't throw with anticipation, right? He can't read defenses. He can't put balls in tight spaces. He's throwing that before Tylan Wallace gets out of his break and perfectly placed in between the 2 defenders. Look,
let us start with the thing everybody is going to be talking about, but very few people are going to understand correctly. Deion Sanders showed up to day 2 of Cleveland Browns training camp. And the way he showed up tells you more about where this situation is headed than any stat line or practice report ever could. He did not walk in through the main entrance waving at reporters. He did not set up shop on the sideline where cameras could catch his every reaction to his son's throws. He climbed to the highest point in those bleachers, found a seat far away from every single media member in the building, and turned down every request that came his way. Every single one. Think about that for a second. This is Deion Sanders we are talking about. The man who once did a full interview while getting his hair braided on the sideline of a football game. The man who turned an entire HBCU program into must-see television just by walking through the front door. The man whose personality is so magnetic that cameras follow him into grocery stores. And he chose silence. He chose distance. He chose to sit up there like a ghost in the rafters and just watch. That is not normal behavior for Deion, and that is exactly why it matters so much. When a man who thrives on attention deliberately removes himself from the spotlight, he is telling you something without saying a single word. He is telling you this is not about him. He is telling you this moment belongs to Shedeur and nobody else. He is telling you that whatever is happening down on that field is too important to risk turning into a Deion Sanders media circus. And honestly, that level of restraint from a personality that size deserves more respect than it is getting right now. The national media is going to spin this into some kind of helicopter parent story. They are going to say Deion is hovering. They are going to say he is putting pressure on the coaching staff just by being in the building. But the people who actually understand football, the people who understand what it means to have a support system that knows when to step forward and when to step back, those people see this for exactly what it is. A father who has been in the biggest moments this sport has ever produced, sitting quietly and letting his son earn it on his own terms. No safety net, no intervention. No loud voice from the stands telling the coaches how to run their offense. Just eyes on the field and trust in the process. And here is the part that makes this even more significant. According to reports from people inside that building, the Browns organization welcomed him. They did not treat him like an inconvenience. They did not put up barriers or assign a handler to keep him away from the football operations side of things. They let him be there. They let him watch. They understood that having Deion Sanders in your building is not a problem to manage. It is an asset to embrace if you are smart enough to see it that way. This is your first sign that Cleveland might actually be handling this situation better than anyone expected. And if you are locked in with Gridiron Ground, you already know we are going to be tracking every single move this organization makes throughout camp, because the small details are where the real story lives. Not in the headlines, not in the hot takes, in the details that most people scroll right past. Now let us talk about the man who might be the most important figure in this entire quarterback competition, and it is not a quarterback. Todd Monken walked into Cleveland with a reputation that precedes him everywhere he goes. This is a coordinator who has called plays at the highest levels of both college and professional football. A man who helped build offensive systems that produced championship-caliber results. And the very first test of his leadership in Cleveland had nothing to do with X's and O's. It had everything to do with how he handled the Deion Sanders situation. All offseason long, the noise machine was working overtime on one specific question. Will Deion call Todd Monken? Should Deion call Todd Monken? Is there going to be some kind of power struggle between a Hall of Fame father and a new offensive coordinator trying to establish his own authority in a new building? People spent weeks, literal weeks, building content around that hypothetical tension. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to it. Twitter threads with hundreds of replies debated whether Deion's involvement would undermine Monken's authority or create friction inside the quarterback room. Grown adults with press credentials wrote thousands of words speculating about a phone call that may or may not have even been necessary. And then camp started. And all of that noise got torched in about 48 hours. Because Todd Monken did something that a lot of coordinators would have been too insecure or too proud to do. He leaned into the relationship instead of running from it.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Reports indicate that Monken treated the situation with respect, gave Deion insight into how he plans to develop Shedeur, shared his perspective on how to coach him effectively, and created an environment where the Hall of Famer's presence felt like a partnership rather than an intrusion. That right there is the difference between a coordinator who understands people and one who only understands playbooks. Football is a relationship business at every single level. The best coaches in the history of this sport were not just brilliant strategists. They were elite communicators who understood that managing personalities is just as important as managing snap counts. And Monken appears to be passing that test with flying colors so far. Compare this to what was reportedly happening under the previous regime. Under Stefanski, the vibe was described as chillier, more standoffish, more of a keep the parent at arm's length approach. That kind of energy might work when you are dealing with a typical NFL family dynamic. But when the father sitting in those stands has 2 Super Bowl rings, a Hall of Fame jacket, and the ability to turn any program he touches into a national conversation, treating him like just another football dad with a folding chair is a strategic mistake. Monken understood that immediately. And the fact that he chose collaboration over confrontation tells you something about the kind of culture this new coaching staff is trying to build in Cleveland. This is not about giving Deion special treatment because he is famous. This is about recognizing that you have a unique resource available to you and being smart enough to use it instead of wasting energy trying to keep it at a distance. Every great organization in professional sports understands this concept. You do not fight the current. You ride it. And right now, the current in Cleveland is flowing in a direction that could benefit Deion Sanders more than any scheme or playbook ever could. Because when your coordinator and your father are on the same page, the rookie quarterback in the middle gets to focus on one thing and one thing only: getting better. Here is where the football nerds in the audience need to lean in close, because what I am about to tell you matters more than any highlight clip or viral throw from this practice. The rep distribution on day 2 stayed exactly the same as day 1. Deion Sanders and Green ran with the 1s. Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel ran with the 2s. Read that again. Let it sit. Because in the NFL, especially during training camp, rep distribution is the single most honest indicator of where a coaching staff's head is at. Coaches can say whatever they want in press conferences. They can talk about open competitions and earning it and letting the best man win. But the reps never lie. When a coaching staff gives a rookie quarterback first team reps on back-to-back days, while the veteran who is supposed to be the presumed starter is running with the second unit, that is not random. That is not a coin flip. That is a deliberate decision made by people who study football for a living and understand that every single rep at this level carries weight. There is intention behind every snap count in an NFL training camp. Every period, every drill, every 7-on-7 series is mapped out in advance by coaches who have spent decades learning how to evaluate talent in compressed windows of time. Nothing is accidental. So when you see a rookie getting first team reps over a veteran, you are watching the coaching staff tell you something they are not ready to say out loud yet. Now practice opened with a skelly period, which for those of you who might be newer to the deeper football terminology, is essentially an install period. The offense walks through new concepts against a scaled-down defensive look. No full pads, no live pass rush, just the framework of the playbook being laid out piece by piece so the quarterbacks and skill players can start building the timing and rhythm that will eventually carry over into full-speed situations. And as camp rolls on day after day, these install periods keep stacking new wrinkles into the system. New formations, new motion packages, new route combinations that build off concepts introduced in previous sessions. This is the offense being constructed brick by brick right in front of our eyes. And Coach Prime was up there in those bleachers watching every single brick get placed. Every new concept, every adjustment, every coaching point delivered on the sideline between reps. He saw all of it, and he said nothing. That discipline combined with the fact that his son is getting first-team reps tells you everything you need to know about where this family believes this situation is heading. They are not panicking. They are not lobbying. They are letting the work speak and trusting that the coaching staff sees what they see. If you are rocking with Gridiron ground, you understand that we do not just watch football. We decode football. Every rep count, every rotation pattern, every subtle shift in how a coaching staff distributes opportunities tells a story that most people miss because they are too busy watching highlight clips instead of studying the structure underneath. The structure is where the truth lives. And right now, the structure in Cleveland is telling a very clear story about which quarterback this coaching staff believes gives them the best chance to win football games. Whether they are ready to announce it publicly or not, the reps have already made the announcement for them. And that brings us to what Shedeur actually did with those first team reps, because this is where things start getting really interesting. 7-on-7 drills kicked off, and Deion Sanders immediately started showing why those first team reps were not handed to him by accident. First notable throw of the period was a drag route to tight end Jake Stoll. Clean read, quick release, ball delivered right on the money where only the receiver could get to it. And I want you to notice something specific about this play because it reveals exactly what Todd Monken is building schematically. Monken loves his crossers. He loves drag routes. He loves using motion before the snap to shift defenders out of position and create windows that would not exist in a static formation. This is an offense built on deception and misdirection at the conceptual level, and Shedeur looked comfortable operating inside of it from almost the very first rep of that period. That comfort level after just 2 days of camp is not something you see from every rookie. Some guys need weeks before the offense starts feeling natural to them. Some guys never get there at all. But Shedeur was processing the reads and delivering the football like a quarterback who has been in this system for months, not hours. Then came the play that tested him. a hitch route that Grant Delpit broke up with elite coverage. And let me give Delpit his flowers right here, because that man is going to be a legitimate problem for every opposing quarterback on Cleveland's schedule this season. Any rookie who has to face him in practice every single day is getting a crash course in NFL-level coverage, disguised whether he asked for it or not. Delpit reads routes like he has the play card in his hand. He jumps breaks with the kind of anticipation that only comes from years of studying tape and understanding offensive tendencies. That is exactly the kind of defender who can either break a rookie quarterback's confidence or sharpen it into something dangerous.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
And what happened next told you everything about which category Shedeur falls into. He bounced back immediately. Not 2 plays later. Not after a series on the sideline to collect himself. Immediately. The very next play, he hit Isaiah Bond on a quick out route. Nothing flashy. Nothing that is going to make the highlight reels or trend on social media. Just a clean, efficient completion that moved the sticks and answered a broken-up pass with a quiet statement of resilience. That is the kind of response that separates guys who can survive in this league from guys who spiral after one bad rep and never recover their rhythm for the rest of practice. In the NFL, bad things happen on every single drive. Passes get tipped. Receivers run wrong routes. Defensive backs make incredible plays that have nothing to do with whether the throw was good or bad. The quarterbacks who make it at this level are the ones who flush those moments instantly and move on to the next play with a clean mental slate. Shedeur showed that ability on day 2, and it should not be overlooked just because it does not come with a viral clip attached to it. The quiet plays tell you more about a quarterback's ceiling than the loud ones ever will. Anybody can throw a deep ball in shorts and a helmet during a 7-on-7 period. Not everybody can take a punch from an elite defensive back, reset mentally in 3 seconds, and deliver a clean ball on the very next snap like nothing happened. That is a skill. That is a trait. And that is something that cannot be coached into a player who does not already have it wired into his DNA. But the play that really set the internet on fire was still coming. And what happened next is the reason this video exists. Here is the play that has people losing their minds, and honestly they should be. Motion before the snap. A drag route underneath acting as a decoy to hold the linebackers in place and clear out the intermediate zone. And then Isaiah Bond slips underneath on a 15-yard dig route, breaks into the open field with nobody within 5 yards of him, and Shedeur puts a laser on him. Not a floater. Not an underthrown wobble that forces the receiver to slow down and adjust. A laser. Right on time. Right on the money. Thrown with the kind of anticipation and timing that you only see from quarterbacks who trust their reads and pull the trigger before the receiver even makes his final break. Bond catches it in stride, never breaks momentum, and takes it all the way into the end zone completely untouched. Nobody blew a whistle. Nobody stopped the play. The defense was cooked from the snap, and everybody standing on that field knew it. Now here is where this story takes a turn that honestly makes my blood boil a little bit. When the so-called official quarterback tracker numbers got released after practice, that touchdown did not count. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. A perfectly thrown ball, in rhythm, off a well-designed concept, to a receiver who walked into the end zone because no defender on the field could get within a zip code of him, and the stat trackers decided that play did not happen. The reasoning, as far as anyone can tell, is that the whistle situation created some kind of ambiguity about whether the play was technically live or dead. But here is what I know. If a quarterback reads the concept correctly, delivers the ball on time to the right spot, and the receiver scores without being touched, that is a touchdown. Period. The clipboard does not get to override reality just because someone was not paying attention to whether the whistle blew or did not blow. And this matters beyond just one play in one practice, because these tracker numbers are what national media members use to build their narratives about who is winning and losing the quarterback competition. If Shedeur's actual production is being underreported because of sloppy tracking, then the story being told to the public is incomplete at best and misleading at worst. Every completion matters in a competition this tight. Every touchdown matters. Every data point feeds into the narrative machine that will eventually influence public perception of who should be starting in week 1. And when the data is wrong, the narrative is wrong. Simple as that. What I saw on that play was a rookie quarterback operating Monken's motion-heavy system with precision, reading the coverage correctly, identifying that the drag route underneath would hold the second-level defenders just long enough to create a window on the dig behind it, and delivering the football with anticipation and accuracy that looked like a veteran making a routine throw in his 5th year in the league. That is not a play you erase from the record because of a technicality. That is a play you study on film and circle with a red marker as evidence that this kid might be further along in his development than anyone outside of that building wants to admit right now. And the fact that Shedeur did not let the non-call affect his performance for the rest of practice tells you something else about his mental makeup. He did not complain. He did not look to the sideline for validation. He just moved on to the next rep and kept dealing. That maturity after a play that should have been celebrated as his best moment of camp so far is the kind of poise that does not show up in any stat tracker. Shedeur was not done after that bond connection, not even close. The rest of practice was a steady climb of confidence and execution that painted a picture of a rookie quarterback settling into his offense in real time. More completions to Denzel Boston, who has been quietly putting together a strong camp if you've been paying attention beyond the headline names. Boston is not the guy generating buzz on social media or trending on Twitter after every practice. But he is consistently getting open and consistently catching the football, which in an NFL training camp matters a whole lot more than being the loudest name on the roster. Another crisp completion to Tylan Wallace on a drag route timed up perfectly with the receiver's break. The kind of throw and catch combination that tells you the quarterback and the pass catcher are starting to develop real chemistry. They are beginning to anticipate each other's movements, understand each other's timing, and trust that the ball is going to be in the right spot at the right moment. That does not happen overnight. That is a process that builds rep by rep, day by day, and the fact that it is already starting to show up on day 2 is a very encouraging sign for this offense. A connection with tight end Jake Stoll that looked clean and efficient. The kind of rep that does not trend anywhere but makes offensive coordinators smile when they review the film later that night. A hitch route to Harold Fannin, where the receiver simply got in front of his defender and moved the sticks. No drama, no highlight reel material, just a first down conversion executed properly, which is what winning football actually looks like when you strip away all the noise and the entertainment factor. A running play mixed into Quentin Johnson.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
A flat route to keep the chains moving and prevent the defense from sitting on vertical concepts. By the time practice wound down, Shedeur was pushing the ball further and further downfield, stretching the field vertically and testing windows that he was not challenging during the early portions of the session. That progression within a single practice is exactly what you want to see from a rookie. It tells you he is learning in real time, adjusting his aggression level based on what the defense is giving him, and building confidence with each successful rep instead of staying locked into a conservative approach just to protect his stat line. Now I want to keep this honest because that is what we do here. The start of practice was not perfect. Shedeur had a rocky opening. There were some penalties mixed in with the first team offense, some issues handling pressure looks from the defense, some moments where the timing was off and the ball came out late or went to the wrong spot. And you know what that is called? Tuesday in an NFL training camp for a rookie quarterback. That is not a crisis. That is not evidence that he cannot handle the position. That is the completely expected growing pains that every single rookie goes through when they are facing a professional pass rush and professional coverage for an extended period for the first time in their careers. The offensive line is still finding itself too, still gelling as a unit, still working through the communication issues and the technique adjustments that every line in this league goes through during late July and early August. But the important part is what happened after those early struggles. According to reporters tracking this camp closely, Shedeur settled in and got sharper as the practice wore on. He did not stay in that early rut. He climbed out of it. And how a quarterback responds to adversity in practice tells you far more about his future than how he performs when everything is going perfectly. Let us get into the actual statistics from day 2, because even though the tracker has its issues, the numbers still tell part of the story, and the part they tell is very interesting if you know how to read between the lines. Deion Sanders finished the day 14 for 24. Deshaun Watson went 16 of 22. Dillon Gabriel was lights out at 10 of 11. And Green rounded things out at 6 of 8 in limited work with the second-team offense. On the surface, you could look at those numbers and make a case that Watson had the better day based purely on completion percentage. And if you want to make that argument, go ahead. But you would be missing the most important number on the entire stat sheet: 0. That is the number of interceptions Deion Sanders threw on day 2. 0 turnovers. 0 gifts to the defense. 0 moments where the coaching staff had to worry about ball security from their rookie quarterback. Meanwhile, Watson was still carrying the weight of 2 interceptions from the previous day. 2 picks that do not just disappear from the coaching staff's memory because a new practice started. In a quarterback competition, and make no mistake, that is exactly what this is regardless of what anybody says at a podium. Ball security is the baseline requirement before we even begin discussing arm talent or scheme fit or highlight reel throws. Protecting the football is job number 1. Everything else is secondary. A quarterback who completes 14 of 24 with 0 turnovers gives his coaching staff more confidence than a quarterback who completes 16 of 22 but is still associated with 2 interceptions from the session before. Because turnovers lose football games. Clean football wins football games. And right now, Shedeur is playing the cleanest football of anyone in that quarterback room when you factor in the full body of work across both days of camp. I also want to make sure Dillon Gabriel gets his recognition in this conversation, because that man went 10 of 11, and nobody is talking about it. Gabriel has been quietly efficient throughout this entire camp, and the reason nobody wants to discuss it is because the narrative machine only has room for one storyline at a time. The media wants Shedeur versus Watson. They want the rookie against the veteran. They want the drama and the tension and the controversy. Gabriel operating at a near-perfect completion rate does not fit neatly into that storyline, so it gets pushed to the side. But I see it, and I want Gabriel to know that the Gridiron Ground audience sees it too. Efficiency matters. Consistency matters. And if Gabriel keeps putting up those kinds of numbers day after day, this competition might not be the 2-man race everybody assumes it is. Now here is where I draw my line in the sand, and I am not moving from it. Given everything we saw across day 1 and day 2, Deion Sanders gets the edge in this competition right now. The first team reps, the 0 turnovers, the ability to recover from a rocky start and finish strong, the touchdown that should have counted, the growing chemistry with Isaiah Bond, the comfort level inside Monken's system after just 48 hours. All of it adds up to a quarterback who is trending in the right direction at exactly the right time. This is Gridiron Ground, and we call it how we see it, not how the mainstream narrative wants us to see it, not how the stat trackers want us to see it, how the actual football on the actual field tells us to see it. And right now, the football is speaking very loudly in Deion Sanders' favor. Now I want to zoom out from the stats and the highlights and talk about something that I think gets completely overlooked in favor of the flashier storylines. The psychological weight that Deion Sanders is carrying into every single practice is unlike anything most rookie quarterbacks have ever had to deal with. Think about the environment this kid is operating in every day. The cameras are on him differently than they are on Watson, differently than they are on Gabriel, differently than they are on Green. Every single practice rep gets scrutinized not just for football reasons, but for narrative reasons. Is he trending toward starter? Is he trending toward bust? Is this the quarterback controversy that people wanted or the one they are afraid of? Every completion gets analyzed frame by people who have already decided what they think before the ball even leaves his hand. Every incompletion gets turned into a headline about his draft stock or his readiness or whether Cleveland made the right decision. Every good play gets explained away by somebody looking for a reason to downplay it, because admitting that the rookie looks good would mean admitting that the previous regime might have gotten it wrong. That is an incredible amount of external pressure for a young man who is also trying to learn a brand new offensive system, build chemistry with receivers he has never played with before, earn the respect of a locker room full of veterans, and prove to a coaching staff that he deserves to be the franchise quarterback of a historically starved organization. And in the middle of all of that noise, he is out there running Monken's install periods, working through drag concepts and motion combinations, taking coaching from a coordinator who by all accounts is meeting him with respect and genuine investment in his development, instead of suspicion and skepticism. That is a healthier environment than what a lot of rookie quarterbacks get thrown into. And I believe it is already showing up in how Shedeur responds to adversity on the practice field. Instead of spiraling after a rough start, he settled in. Instead of pressing and trying to force big plays to prove himself, he took what the defense gave him and worked through his progressions with patience. Instead of letting a broken-up pass or a non-counted touchdown throw him off his rhythm, he flushed it and moved to the next play. That is maturity. That is poise. That is the kind of mental framework that you cannot teach a quarterback who does not already possess it at his core. And the Isaiah Bond connection deserves its own spotlight in this bigger picture, because I genuinely believe this is a market inefficiency that the national media is sleeping on right now. A speed receiver who can take the top off a defense on a simple motion drag combination, catching strikes from a rookie quarterback who is clearly building real chemistry with him after just 2 days of camp. That is a connection worth monitoring every single day going forward. If Monken keeps feeding Bond these looks off motion and Shedeur keeps trusting his reads and pulling the trigger with anticipation, instead of waiting for windows to open completely before throwing, this offense could develop faster than anyone in the national media is currently projecting. The pieces are there. The scheme is there. The coaching relationship between Monken and the Sanders family is there. The only question is whether Cleveland has the patience to let it develop naturally, instead of bowing to the pressure of outside noise that wants an answer before the process has had time to play out. And based on what we saw on day 2, the answer to that question is trending in a very encouraging direction. So where does all of this leave us heading into day 3 of Cleveland Browns training camp? Deion Sanders is stacking days. That is the exact cliche that every rookie quarterback is taught to repeat in every interview. But in this case, it actually matches what we are seeing on the field. A shaky start followed by a strong finish. 0 turnovers, while the veteran quarterback is still dealing with the residue of back-to-back interceptions from the day before. At least 1 touchdown that the stat sheet is too stubborn to acknowledge. A growing chemistry with Isaiah Bond that could become one of the most dangerous connections in this offense. And a father sitting in the highest row of the bleachers, turning down every camera and every microphone, trusting the process enough to let his son earn it without interference from the biggest personality in American sports. That is a real story with real legs, not a manufactured controversy. Not a hot take designed to get clicks. A genuine developing narrative about a young quarterback finding his footing in a new system, surrounded by people who are invested in his success instead of threatened by his presence. Gridiron ground is going to be locked in on this every single day this camp continues. Every rep, every throw, every rotation shift, every quiet detail that the mainstream coverage misses because they are too busy chasing the loud stories. Now tell me in the comments. Do you believe the Browns already know who their Week 1 starter is, or is this competition still legitimately wide open? Drop your answer below because I am reading every single one of them. Gridiron ground. we do not miss.
You know what I'm saying? I would never allege, some people are fudging the numbers, you know what I'm saying? And touchdowns that aren't there, but magically Dylan Gabriel has a touchdown. Looking at the quarterback tracker, Sanders went 80%, 20 for 26, Watson 66%, Gabriel 64%, and then Taylor Green, shout out to Taylor Green with 80% on the day.